On News 2.
On World News Tonight this Sunday, to the South Pole and back. A mission of mercy accomplished. New hope for peace, a whirlwind round of diplomacy by Israel's new prime minister. And women's sports may never be the same. The legacy of the World Cup.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Good evening. I'm Carol Simpson. The U.S. Air Force is calling it one of the most challenging peacetime missions it has faced. A journey of more than 6,000 miles from New Zealand to the South Pole in the dead of winter and in total darkness. All for the sake of a 47-year-old woman in need of medical treatment but stranded at the bottom of the earth. A risky mission that today went off without a hitch. Here's ABC's Beth Nissen.
The weather was good for the South Pole in winter. The U.S. Air Force crew that took off from Christchurch, New Zealand last night flew into clear Arctic air that was only 70 degrees below zero. It can be a far more dangerous 100 below at this time of year. In 7 hours, the mission crew was straining to see, through night vision equipment, the remote Antarctic research station, a tiny speck in the black of a sunless winter on a sea of white ice.
That was one of our biggest challenges, was identifying the drop zone in the white wastelands of the South Pole. The drop zone was marked by smudge pots that the scientists had put out to help us identify the drop area.
The drop had to be precise. Those on the ground didn't have much time to find and pick up the bundles after they were parachuted onto the ice.
We estimated 5 to 7 minutes before the extreme cold would start to degrade the medical equipment and drugs that were inside the pallets.
Medical equipment and drugs to help a 47-year-old woman at the base who has a lump in her breast and can't be evacuated for diagnosis or treatment until October, when the Arctic winter breaks. In 2 passes over the drop site, the crew pushed out bundles packed with ultrasound and video conferencing equipment to help the base doctor diagnose the woman's breast lump, and medicines and drugs that could be used to treat her once a diagnosis is made. Several of those who flew the mission told officers on the ground that they couldn't help but think about the cold fear that their own wives or sisters or mothers would feel if they thought they might be sick and were frozen a world away from standard medical care.
Our crews were very personally involved in this drop. They included a bouquet of flowers, a get well card, and a picture of themselves so that the lady would know who her deliverers were.
After pushing the bundles into the icy night, the crew huddled and waited for word from the ground. The news was good.
One of the morale bundles had included some fresh fruit and mail that sustained some damage on impact, but about 90% of the material inside survived unscathed. And our initial reports are that all the medical equipment has survived.
Air Force officials are calling the South Pole airdrop one of the most challenging peacetime missions they've ever attempted. Crew members who flew last night's mission simply hope they've brought one worried woman some peace of mind. Beth Nissen, ABC News, New York.
In the Middle East, new hope for the peace process. Israel's new prime minister, Ehud Barak, met with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat today. It was Barak's second meeting with an Arab leader during his first week in office. ABC's Clay Scott reports.
Only 5 days after Israel's new prime minister took office, this symbolic handshake, one that Palestinians and Israelis hope will mark a new chapter in their history.
Both sides have suffered enough. It's about time to find a way to nurture mutual respect.
After 3 years of Benjamin Netanyahu's reluctant peacemaking, Yasser Arafat welcomed Ehud Barak's words of reconciliation. It's time to put an end to the cycle of violence and terror, he said. But he was wary of Barak's offer to implement last year's Wye River Accords, handing over more territory to the Palestinians. The agreements have to be implemented fully, he said. We can't wait forever.
Nowhere is that frustration more apparent than here in Gaza, a narrow, overcrowded strip of sand that most residents have never been allowed to leave.
Demonstrators today called for the release of hundreds of Palestinians from Israeli jails, a halt to Jewish settlements, and the building of a corridor for safe passage between Gaza and the West Bank. All three things, they say, were promised to them by Netanyahu's government. So far, Barak hasn't shown us anything new, says this man. We've heard it all before.
We have to restore a partnership that has been shattered over the last few years, and that we've got to, both Israeli people and Palestinian people have got to get in their mind that peace is not a zero-sum game.
Barak will fly to Washington later this week to meet with President Clinton. In the meantime, he cautions, the Palestinians should not expect too much too soon. For now, he says, it's enough that the two sides are talking again. Clay Scott, ABC News, in the Gaza Strip.
Now turning to U.S. politics. Some good news for presidential candidate Bill Bradley, delivered by his opponent's campaign. Advisors to Vice President Al Gore said New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan is expected to endorse Bradley. Another sign that the former senator from New Jersey may be gaining some ground. Here's ABC's Jamie Floyd.
Bill Bradley loosened up his image, if not his tie, with an appearance on NBC's Tonight Show Friday.
Bill Bradley is so boring. His Secret Service code name is Al Gore.
Having a good time, perhaps because in recent weeks Bradley has become something few expected, a real contender.
He's in the game. He's a player.
One reason? Money.
And here's Bill Bradley, everybody's All-America choice.
Bradley, who played for Princeton and then the New York Knicks, is now mining those old sports contacts for cash. L.A. Lakers coach Phil Jackson has hosted fundraisers for his former teammate, and superstar Michael Jordan is also a contributor. Bradley is getting less support from former colleagues in his other career, the Senate, where most Democrats are backing Al Gore. Still, word today from the Gore camp that they expect New York Senator Moynihan to endorse Bradley. So far, only Democratic Senators Bob Kerrey of Nebraska and Paul Wellstone of Minnesota have endorsed Bradley.
I think Bill can help revitalize democracy in our country.
Bill Bradley built an 18-year career in the Senate. But for a former basketball star, some say he wasn't much of a team player. And when he left the Senate, Bradley did not hide his frustration with politics or his disappointment with some of his colleagues.
Neither political party speaks to people where they live their lives.
The way he went out of the Senate says a lot about Bradley, and it's one of the reasons there's some resentment about him in Democratic quarters now.
Even if Bradley's parting shot then cost him some support in the Senate, for American voters who are disillusioned with Washington, it may help position Bradley as the outsider in the race against insider Al Gore. Jamie Floyd, ABC News, Washington.
Still ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, the fastest growing credit card scam. High-tech thieves skimming millions from unsuspecting customers. A controversial history lesson evoking strong feelings about slavery. And the U.S. women's soccer team winning more than just the World Cup.
This is World News Tonight, Sunday. Brought to you by Maalox.
You won't believe your mouth with this antacid.
That's amazing.
Dissolved almost immediately.
Like, it's gone.
Introducing Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables, a whole new kind of calcium antacid for heartburn.
It dissolves quickly when you put it in your mouth. Very quick.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables dissolve faster and more completely than Tums.
Didn't have to dig it out of my teeth. No grit. It's gone.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewable Tablets. Quick dissolve your heartburn away.
Quick dissolve. Maalox.
From 1 Minute Maalox.
Hey, I am in fabulous Las Vegas with a bottle of Pert Plus. It's time to shampoo some hair. Have you ever used one of those shampoos and conditioners all in the same bottle?
They don't work.
They don't work?
Heck no.
What if I said I've got a shampoo and a conditioner all in one? Would you be willing to try it? I have a sink right across the street over there. This is a reformulated Pert Plus.
It's good stuff.
I'm going to see if I can't get them to put on the bottle. You won't hate it.
I like it, actually. It feels nice. Much smoother and softer.
Once again, guys, that's Pert Plus with clean conditioning. Come on, let us wash your hair. We can change your mind. The power I wield with the sink, man.
I want this one.
Quaker Toasted Oatmeal, crisp oatmeal flakes, and honey sweetened clusters. You haven't wanted a cereal this badly since you were a kid. Hey, you might want a bigger spoon because we've made Quaker Toasted Oatmeal even better tasting.
The Secret Service is warning of a new high-tech scam involving credit cards. Some thieves have begun using a tiny scanning machine to skim millions of dollars from unwary consumers. ABC's Tim O'Brien reports.
At the upscale Coco Pazzo Cafe in New York, the staff lines up each day to hear about the soup du jour, followed by the search du jour.
I need to ask you to turn around, starting with Irina. Roy?
That's because one of the waiters, using a pocket-sized credit card scanner, scammed customers out of nearly $250,000. Management wants to make sure nobody's able to do that again.
You always think it can't happen to me, but it does. It can. And anywhere, any establishment that accepts credit cards, this could happen to you.
Here's how. You give your credit card to a merchant, say it's at a restaurant. Before you're even charged for the dinner, an unscrupulous waiter, played here by a Secret Service agent, can swipe your card through a tiny scanner, recording your name, address, and account number off the magnetic stripe. The waiter can then use or sell the information himself, or transmit it over the internet, allowing others to copy the information onto counterfeit credit cards. Within minutes, thieves as far away as Asia can be running up huge charges on your card, charges you won't even learn about until you get your statement weeks later.
You might have a card skimmed in New York, and you'll see charges occur in California, Indiana, Ohio, Japan, the Netherlands. You name it, it's just out there.
The Secret Service says skimming is the fastest growing area of credit card fraud and the most lucrative. The scanners themselves are legal and widely available on the internet. Some credit card companies are now trying to alter the magnetic stripe on the back of the card to make the information on it more difficult to copy. The Secret Service says there's not a whole lot the consumer can do other than to try to keep an eye on your credit card whenever you give it out. Tim O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
You may have noticed a pinch at the gas pump recently. The price of a gallon of gas has jumped nearly 2 cents over the past 2 weeks and could go even higher. Analysts blame the rise on the rising cost of crude oil. Still ahead, the reenactment of a cruel era in American history.
Ain't I a man just like he is?
Smidge of bad news, folks. Your Taurus got nailed by one of the side rollers. Let's test drive this Buick Century instead.
But we're spending the day with my mother.
Grammy, Kay. So, Mom, you like the roomy 6-person seating?
Who are you?
I'm Lester, Marge's son.
I really like the handling.
Oh, yeah. Century's got standard traction control, ABS brakes.
Beats our Taurus LX.
Hey, you want to drive it?
I'd love to, Lester.
Test drive the Century by Buick and see just how much more you get than the Taurus LX, including $1,500 cash back.
You look a little pale, Lester.
Oh, I'm fine.
Pepto-Bismol. It's first aid for heartburn, diarrhea, nausea, indigestion, and upset stomachs.
The best way to cure athlete's foot so it won't come back is here. New Lamisil AT. It's so powerful, it does what no other brand can do. These take 4 weeks of treatment to kill the fungus. Lamisil AT is so powerful, with just 1 week's use, it stops the itching and burning and cures athlete's foot between the toes. So powerful, a clinical study showed 3 whole months later, users were still athlete's foot free. Now without a prescription. New Lamisil AT, the best way to cure athlete's foot fast so it won't come back.
When you buy a bargain basement PC, what you're really buying is a mystery box. Will there be a monitor? Probably not. Lots of software? Ha! A year on the internet, 24/7 tech support? Dream on. With a Gateway Essential PC, you know exactly what you're getting. Monitor, great software, award-winning tech support, and internet access for $28 a month, or less than $1 a day. No mystery there. Call 1-800-GATEWAY for a Gateway Essential PC with an Intel Celeron processor.
Out here, am I supposed to say, slow down, I'm constipated? I don't think so. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
And now a hard look at the cruelty of slavery. At Virginia's Colonial Williamsburg, a new tourist attraction is eliciting a strong reaction from visitors. ABC's Carla Davis reports.
The scenes are complete with bright colonial costumes and period music. But this year, for those who choose to listen, there is a dissonant chord.
Sweet Jesus.
Here, actors recreate an all-too-real part of American history.
It's one thing to read about it. It's another thing to see this happening to people. It tore my guts apart.
What can I do? Ain't I a man just like he is?
The program, called Enslaving Virginia, started 5 months ago and is a far cry from the whitewashed version of history depicted in colonial Williamsburg for decades. Visitors often use one word to describe it: disturbing.
I think the disturbing aspect of the program is a positive good because many times people come here with certain perceptions of the past that have been over-romanticized and glorified.
In this narrative, a slave wrongly accused of trying to escape is lashed 39 times.
I couldn't help but relate it to the incident in New York City when the man was shot 42 times by the New York City police. That's all I kept thinking of every time they said how they lashed that man 39 times. And I kept thinking how things change, but they don't.
The plot twists when it is also revealed that the foreman is a slave. The master had threatened to sell his wife and ordered him to whip his fellow slave.
I couldn't control myself. I hated him. I hated master. I hated this place.
There was some scenes that sort of upset me. But then we have our children that need to know the history also.
Providing both communities with a different perspective is the whole point of this living museum, while expressing a new kind of patriotism, one colored red, white, blue, and black. Carla Davis, ABC News.
Still ahead, from the ivory tower to global crime fighting, the first American to head Interpol.
You didn't save me any?
It wasn't enough.
Quaker Toasted Oatmeal Squares. You haven't wanted a cereal this badly since you were a kid.
It's barbecue season, the busiest time of the year for your deck, which is why you should protect it with Thompson's Wood Protector. Nothing we make works harder, longer. For rain, sun, mildew, or low-flying meat, Thompson's Wood Protector, it never takes a day off.
What's so different about specialized blends from One A Day? They're not just herbs. They're herbs, vitamins, and minerals. Specially blended together for things like energy. One A Day. Just what you need to feel your best.
We know all about it. Some people throw away the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes without even opening it up. Well, this week, that could be a costly mistake. Because this week, if you throw away a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with this green star, you could be throwing away a real check for $100,000. There are thousands of real checks right inside selected envelopes marked with a green star. Checks you can take right to the bank. So watch for a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with a green star. There could be a real check inside.
It's time. Time for your heartburn to kick in because your heartburn relief gave out. It happens 2 or more days a week, even though you've treated it and changed your diet. That frequent, persistent heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease, potentially serious.
It's Prilosec time. Time to see your doctor about prescription Prilosec. Your results may vary, but for many people, Prilosec provides 24 hours of complete heartburn relief with 1 daily dose. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 24 hours of complete heartburn relief is possible. It's Prilosec time.
Tonight, another first. Americans of a certain age might remember the television series The Man from Interpol. It was based on the International Criminal Police Organization known as Interpol. But the real Interpol has outlasted the TV show. Created 75 years ago, it operates as a crime-fighting cooperative. With its 177 member countries, among the fugitives Interpol has helped bring to justice, Chile's President Augusto Pinochet, and Ira Einhorn, known as the hippie killer. Now, for the first time in Interpol's history, an American is poised to fill its top position. Ron Noble, a law professor at New York University and a former federal prosecutor, has just been named Interpol's new Secretary General designate. ABC's Aaron Brown sat down for a conversation with Ron Noble.
businesses are embarking on globalization, and law enforcement has to do exactly the same thing. It is so easy for criminals to move from point A to point B, to communicate back and forth, and that's what Interpol does, is it says, police officers need to communicate with each other in order for criminals not to be able to take advantage of the ability they can move from one country to the next.
You're not just an American going to do this job. You're an African American going to do this job.
It's not lost on me that I'm an African American who has received the unanimous support of federal law enforcement officers, many of whom are criticized for discriminating against African Americans. I'm an African American who, when people don't know who I am, I'm forced to go through the secondary search at U.S. Customs. I think it was 7 out of the last 12 times I entered in the U.S. I had to go through the second line and have them search my bags, ask me about it.
How does this child of an Army Master Sergeant, an Army brat, as you described yourself to me at the beginning, how did you end up with this job?
Father was in the Army, as you said, a Master Sergeant, became a janitor, but he used to look on the walls of the lawyers' offices and doctors' offices where he cleaned the floors, and he'd say, if you have a degree like that, you'll have people doing for you what I'm doing for them.
Complicated crimes, money laundering involved, swindles involved, securities fraud involved. Is Interpol technologically sophisticated enough in 1999 to deal with those kinds of crimes?
Interpol is not where it should be technologically speaking. It's behind the curve. In 1985, it was its greatest moment when it moved from index cards to a computerized system, when it moved from, before that, from Morse code to another form of communication. But the internet, Interpol is just beginning to understand it. And if it doesn't get up to speed fast, it's going to become irrelevant.
Is that a financial deal?
Are you kidding me? Interpol's budget is a joke when you think about it, that they have $25 million to $30 million budget. It's a joke.
What does that tell you about the commitment of countries to this?
It tells me that they don't understand. If we don't have well-trained, well-equipped, educated, honest, hardworking police officers properly equipped throughout the world, and when that crime happens, whether it's an embassy bombing or a business bombing, we're going to be in trouble.
Ron Noble is expected to be confirmed as Interpol Secretary General this fall. Still ahead, nerves of steel and a powerful kick clinch the World Cup and may have transformed more than just the sport.
I should have used Preparation H. Cool it fast. Introducing Preparation H Cooling Gel. Cools on contact for fast relief. New Preparation H Cooling Gel cools on contact.
Now, from Seabond Denture Adhesive comes a fresh new hope. New Seabond Natural Fresh. Natural mint freshness and a soft, thin seal that bonds dentures to gums. Original and new Seabond Natural Fresh.
Is it the thick, rich chocolate flavor? Is it the soft, luscious cherry flavor? Or the way it yields to the gentlest bite? Or is it the fact that 500 milligrams of bone-strengthening calcium doesn't come in a big, honking horse pill? Calburst from Nature Made. Have some pleasure with your calcium.
Here they come. Surprise! I made your old favorite pepperoni.
I can't eat that now.
Oh. This can't be Charlie.
I didn't take my Pepsid. I gotta wait.
Then we all wait.
Take my Tagamet. You could eat now.
Hey, Tagamet has a better way to avoid heartburn. Not before, not after. Now, you can take Tagamet right when you're going to eat and still prevent heartburn.
Same old Charlie.
With Tagamet, you can eat like a kid again.
Tonight on 2020, Mosquito Misery. How to keep the bugs off of you. 2020 puts insect repellents to the test. What's the best way for you to block the bites this summer? Watch 2020 tonight.
Now we go to ESPN Sports Center for a quick look at the day's sports highlights. Here's Kenny Mayne. Kenny?
Carol, thanks. Some rough news today for Jose Canseco of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He's going to miss Tuesday's All-Star game in Boston, and in fact, his entire season is now in question. Canseco is undergoing back surgery today in Miami on a herniated disc. Canseco was to be in his first All-Star game since 1992. He left Friday's game with back stiffness. In fact, he's had a history of back trouble. He was off to a great start this season, leading the American League in home runs with 31. The Yanks sought to preserve their New York City manhood, avoid the sweep against the Mets. This helped. Ricky Leday has reached the 18 to 24-year-old target audience, a 3-run homer, 3-2 lead on the way to a 6-3 Yankees win. In Cleveland, the Reds came from behind to beat the Indians, but Cleveland's Manny Ramirez is the one to catch in the RBI race. His 2-run double in the first gives him 96 RBI, third highest total ever at the All-Star break. To the Tour de France now, and a comeback story in more than one way. American Lance Armstrong won the 8th of 20 stages in this race. This puts him in the yellow jersey as the overall leader. And Carol, it continues Armstrong's bold return to the top of the racing game 3 years after being diagnosed with testicular cancer that had threatened his life. On a good note, that's your Sports in Brief.
Thank you. Kenny Mayne of ESPN Sports Center. Finally tonight, the U.S. women's soccer team celebrated its World Cup victory today at Disneyland, the theme park owned by ABC's parent company. The women's victory is being called a defining moment for women athletes. One day later, we're still celebrating the big win. But as ABC's Judy Muller tells us, it was all about teamwork, and the impact of that may be felt for years to come.
The game may be over, but the story's got legs. This team on this day, in this place, forever changed the way we think about women in sports. To young girls, it said, it's okay to be aggressive and competitive and strong. In fact, it's better than okay. It's glorious.
And that's really something that we're very proud of doing for young girls across this country, is giving them someone to look up to, because we didn't have someone to look up to when we were growing up.
To young women of color, it said, you too can be the one who saves the day. At the end of a very long day, at the end of a very long road.
I've had somewhat of a rocky road getting here. You know, I wasn't, your all-American girl, and I had to come through the back door, so to speak. And so I just want them aware that even if they don't, get in through the front door, the windows in the back door are always open.
To those who want to rescind Title IX, the law requiring equal funding for girls' sports in schools, it said, not so fast, buddy.
I think that we've shown that we can fill stadiums, and that the Title IX legislation was something that initiated change and acceptance of women in sport. So that's why this tournament means so much.
To men and boys, fathers and brothers, it said, we speak the same language, even if we say it with high fives and kisses and a victory dance to boot.
Watch the USA celebrate.
And to everyone, regardless of gender or age or athletic ability, it said, you can't win this game alone.
Off the corner from China. Header! Saved off the line! Rebound was cleared! The ball was heading for goal!
There's 20 individuals, but at the end of the day, it's the team that comes first, and I think that's a great message.
A great message that transcends a great moment. Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And it was a great moment. That's our report for tonight. Be sure to watch 2020 Sunday later. And tomorrow on Good Morning America, the U.S. Women's World Cup soccer team. I'm Carol Simpson. From all of us here at ABC News, have a good week and good night.
Monday, a wanted serial killer set free by mistake. Government agencies, potential deadly errors. What can be done? Watch World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.